Hello, welcome back, boxing fans, to another episode on Talk and Fight of Boxing News Headlines. And we have got headlines from around the world featuring an upcoming clash between YouTube sensation Jake Paul and Love Island star Tommy Fury. And what a clash it will be, according to the headlines. Let's start off with a headline emanating out of a town located in the midst of a province called British Columbia on the west coast of Canada, out of Kelowna. Screams the headline, Tommy Fury has vowed to end Jake Paul's boxing career. He said, I'm ready to deal with this, man. This is a public service announcement going out to everybody. This man won't box again. This will be the last time you see Jake Paul in the ring against a true professional anyway. Well, there you have it. So, Jake Paul has this to respond. In an interview with BT Sport, he said, basically, all of Tommy's opponents to this point have been put in there to lose, and that Fury is delusional as a result. Quote, I think he's a bit delusional with his confidence, which can be a good weapon for you if you're so overly confident that you're just going to beat everybody. That's worked for him thus far, but when he gets in there with me, it's going to be a different story. I'm faster, better defense, better head movement, better body shots, more power, better footwork, better chin, more heart, more cardio. He hasn't even been 8 rounds. I've been 8 rounds with 2 different people who are both world champions. He went on to claim that all of Fury's opponents to this point have been plucked off the street. He's never fought anybody, Jake Paul finished. This combined the combined record of his opponents is like 25 wins and 200 something losses. They've all been put in there to lose. I'm going to be a rude awakening for him when he's in there with someone who has a killer mindset and is willing to die to win the fight. So how's that for a warm up to today's show? But it doesn't end there. The headlines are even screaming this fight on CBS. CBS, the network out of America, on the boxing page, quite frankly, and Jake Paul and Tommy Fury are making the headlines. All right, so they're gonna comment on what the WBC had to say last week with their own headline grabbing comment by Mauricio Suleiman, their president, when he said Jake Paul to earn a WBC ranking with a win over Tommy Fury. Which certainly raised a lot of eyebrows and a lot of discussion following it. But there needs to be some clarification, obviously. But CBS at this moment is going on to report in this story that it's not such a bad thing to have Jake Paul ranked in the cruiserweight division. And I might say world ranked, by the way. Okay, so one of the main factors driving negative reactions to the idea of Paul earning a ranking is a misunderstanding of exactly how the WBC rankings work. Even men who live in the boxing space, such as Matchroom's Eddie Hearn, have made mistakes when it comes to this, okay? Because he had made a comment, is it right? Not really. I'm quoting Eddie Hearn here, because there's fighters that deserve to be in the top 15 much more than Jake Paul, but it's the world we live in, okay? But the issue is that the WBC never said Jake Paul would earn a spot in the top 15, simply that the winner of the fight would enter the rankings. And the WBC cruiserweight rankings are 40 deep. There is no indication that Paul would be bumping any established cruiserweight from the WBC top 15. It's important to note that as a fighter must be ranked in that top 15 to be eligible to earn a shot at the WBC World Championship, which is set to be defended on Sunday's undercard when champion Lunga Makubo faces Badu Jack. And we've also commented on Talking Fight about the prospect of Badu Jack in that fight and why he'd even be there to begin with. But anyway, it's also worth noting that the cruiserweight division is almost certainly the division with the least depth in boxing outside of the recently created Bridgerweight division. While everybody currently in WBC's top 40 has clearly more established themselves as boxers, there are also plenty of men on that list who very recently have fought opponents with records such as 1-4 or 17-7-1. The current number 40 ranked fighter is Serdar Afki, who holds the spot because he won the WBC International Silver title, which is a secondary version of the already secondary WBC International title, which is a second round injury TKO in his most recent outing. We won't go on to discuss their respective records. With all that considered, do Fury or Paul legitimately deserve a spot ahead of the number 40 ranked Afki or any of the other men currently ranked? No. But no one should spend too much energy preaching the sanctity of rankings that means very little once you get into that number 30 to 40 range. Ultimately, the idea of a ranking being up for grabs when Fury and Paul face off is a transparent publicity stunt. It's just not quite as bad as the gut reaction one might have had when the headlines first started hitting the social media timelines. This ranking stunt changes nothing in the boxing landscape for anyone other than the unfortunate soul who gets bumped from the bottom spot of the rankings. Let's fly over to boxingscene.com and see what Eddie Hearn had to say. He said he does not agree with the WBC's decision to put Paul in line for a world ranking, but he understands why the sanctioning body made the move. He said, sometimes governing bodies have to live in that commercial world as well. Tommy Fury is a proper fighter, and Jake Paul would make a statement if he won that fight. Not a statement that he can challenge for a world title, but ultimately there's a little bit of publicity in there. Is it right? Not really, because there's fighters that deserve to be in the top 15 much more than Jake Paul, but it's the world we live in. Well, we've commented on why he may be a little bit mistaken in that realm. While he views the contest as being a near-level proposition, Hearn has been leaning in the direction of Paul coming away with the win. He said mentally he'll break Tommy Fury. I think he'll mess with Tommy mentally, and I just think by the time they get in the ring, if they do get in the ring, I think Tommy will be defeated before the fight is even taking place. And I think we'll win by knockout. And that's what Eddie Hearn had to say about the fight coming up. I'm sure we'll hear more from him. Now, just to clarify as to what Suleiman actually said, according to the WBC website, he said, and I quote, WBC President Mauricio Suleiman confirms that if Jake Paul wins his upcoming fight against Tommy Fury, the WBC judging committee will place him in the cruiserweight division. Jake Paul has been close to the WBC for several years, starting with the first event promoted in the UK when his brother Logan fought KSI. That night, Jake won the WBC amateur belt in undercard bouts. Jake has dedication and respect for the sport. The WBC will not tolerate discrimination. They deserve the opportunities that every other boxer has. He shows punching power and improved skills and a solid chin. Tommy Fury is a clear challenge for Paul in a match between two undefeated professional boxers. Jake signed up for the VADA clean boxing testing program, another strong reason to support his stance as a boxer. So in Saudi Arabia, Jake Paul will face Tommy Fury on a highly anticipated match, and it will be promoted by Skill Challenge Entertainment in an event dubbed The Truth, which we've mentioned previously on Talkin Fight. So ever since he started boxing inside the undercard of Mike Tyson's return against Roy Jones Jr., Jake Paul has improved his boxing skills exponentially. First, he knocked NBA former player and Nate Robinson completely out. Then came fights against former UFC stars such as Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren. However, his most recent fight against legendary Anderson Silva is what gave him this new opportunity. Beating Tommy Fury will break that barrier between boxing and the so-called celebrity boxing. Jake Paul is making history in the sport, whether we like it or not. So let's move along now to what Shane Mosley had to say about this. Now, keep in mind, Shane Mosley is a former champion himself. He's a three-weight world champ, and he trained with Jake Paul in the run-up to his fight in 2020. And that is why he has so much faith in Jake Paul, who made his name on social media and on YouTube, as we all know. Mosley defeated boxing legend Oscar De La Hoya twice during his career and was named Fighter of the Year back in 1998. And he spoke about Paul during an interview with FightHype.com. He said, it's a possibility because he has the frame, he has the speed, he has the power. He might need to lose a little bit of weight, but he fights at cruiserweight, so maybe that goes down. Maybe it goes down to light heavyweight in the future. It's going to be hard for him at any of the weights once you get to that level. Then he has to get to work with the right people. But like right now, it'll probably take him 2 to 3 years, maybe even 4 in that section. He can not there yet, but if he fights the right people, then maybe he can do it. Finally, as a closing comment on this ongoing fantastic lead up to what is going to be an interesting fight, the bettors, the betting companies are in on this as well. Okay, so this to me comes via DAZN.com, and it's laughable. It's funny. Okay, they say the weekend bout between rivals Jake Paul and Tom Fury is highly anticipated, but far from your typical high-profile boxing main event. That's an understatement if there ever was one. As a result, many are expecting the contest to deliver in terms of sheer spectacle, and bookmakers are preparing themselves accordingly. Betting sites.co.uk are offering some interesting side markets in addition to the traditional offerings, such as outright winner, which round, and nature of the result. You can check out some of the peculiar happenings they believe could very well happen on this list below. And let me just quote them here. Jake Paul to drink prime drink in the ring, 2-1. Jake Paul to call out Carl Froch, 3-1. Jake Paul to call out KSI, 5-1. Tommy Fury to sing after the fight, 6-1. Tommy Fury to pull out or withdraw from the fight, 6-1. Tommy Fury to call out Logan Paul, 8-1. Jake Paul to call out Conor McGregor, 10-1. Tommy Fury to mention Molly May in post-fight interview, 12-1. Jake Paul to wear Union Jack shorts, 14-1. Tyson Fury to throw Tommy Fury's towel in, 16-1. Tyson Fury to stand ringside during the fight, 20-1. Tommy Fury to retire from boxing, 25-1. Tommy Fury to walk out to Love Island theme tune, 100-1. So there you go. It's going to be, as I said yesterday, shown in Canada and Brazil on DAZN pay-per-view, and American fans can sign up to watch it via ESPN Plus on their pay-per-view site. So there you have it, my friends. Thanks for joining me here on Talk and Fight. Appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Mike Gore and Cedric Ben for their show, Knuckle Up. Thank you.